how long did it take you to finally get the strength to get out of the wheelchair? Was there some kind of amazing event, or did you build up to it? Like, what was the process of finally getting you out of the wheelchair?
So, when I was dealing with trying to get out of the chair, I had what you'd call a sit to stand machine. You transfer from your wheelchair to the machine and basically pump yourself up by hand to standing position. And you would stand there and get your legs used to having your weight on them a little bit. It would just support you. I
Okay.
used that every day. Every day I'd practice walking a few steps, and that just slowly built. And I had made this goal. I told myself that before I left that high school, I was going to be able to walk down the halls of the school um, without that chair. And that was my goal. And I had also determined I was going to go to one of the school dances. I was like, this is happening. So
Heck yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
went
yeah.
to
That's
winter
good.
ball, and I walked down the halls of the school. I think it was about mm, I would say about 3 weeks before that school dance, and I just left my chair at home that day. I'm like, nope, I'm going
No
without
way.
it. And I was tired. I was exhausted. It wasn't easy, um, but I did it, and then I was able to go to that dance and not have to worry about the chair either.
Did the boy
So,
ask you?
it was girl ask guy, so
Good.
I asked him, but
Oh, but he said yes, yo.
he did say yes. That's true. That's true.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, it was
That's
fun.
that's exciting. So you actually got to work and build yourself. How was the home environment during that, especially being in the wheelchair, trying to build yourself up? Was it like just super positive? Were they like keeping marks on the whiteboard, trying to be like, oh, she took 2 steps? Like, what was that environment like?
Yeah, everything was really positive. I actually spent some time in Utah with my aunt and uncle because there was better doctors and hospitals down there, better rehabilitation. So I spent a lot of time with them, and that was really awesome to like have their support. And I saw my family all the time, and just everybody was just band together, just supporting. And I had friends and family from all over the place reaching out to me at that point. I had a couple of really good friends from up in northern Idaho who would call me regularly and check up on me and tell me, "Hey, you got
That's
this. Like, how's
awesome.
that going?" And I really just had this great support system throughout. Everything was positive, and everything was just trying to build me up and help me to feel like I could accomplish this goal.
Dude, that's so awesome. See what I mean? It's like when you have a community of good people, friends
Hmm.
and family, like you really can make anything happen. It's
Exactly.
amazing of what like you can accomplish as human beings and in this life when you have a support system and you have
Hmm.
people backing you up through everything. So shout out to all of them,
Yeah,
everybody that
seriously.
followed you on
Yeah.
your journey. Um, that's incredible. That's remarkable. So when you get all better and you're able to like walk and everything, what like without being tired and everything, do you remember how old you were when you finally were like back to kind of like normal, be able to walk with no wheelchair, no any of
Yeah.
that?
By the time I think that once I finally got my muscles strengthened and stretched out, my hair finally kind of grew to like a reasonably attractive length. I can't pull off a pixie cut in case anyone's wondering. Um, but I think I was about 18 and a half, 19 years old,
so
when everything really, I felt good about where I was at, and things were, I'd finally reached like that strength,
so
you know?
12 to 19,
Hmm.
19 and a half ish. It's a long time. It's a long time to deal
Yeah.
with this. So it's gone though. You don't
Yeah.
have any more problems, no more issues.
Yeah. So I found a specialist in Haley, Idaho, actually, and told me that it was a juvenile form of an autoimmune disorder that just attacks every major organ in your body till it gets to your heart. And that was ultimately what it was. Had me on medication until I was about 18 and a half years old, 18, 19 years old. And then I came off of medication, and I have not used it since.
That's
At
crazy.
25, I've not looked back. And every time I've gone in for a checkup, I have a clean bill of health.
That's
So,
so awesome.
yeah,
Congrats, yo.
thank
That's so
you.
good you
Thank
fought
you.
through it. And it's like it's just like this is just one of those stories I just like to praise so much is because you had those thoughts, you had these bad times and these horrible, horrible times to go through. And then now that you do, like you made it on the other side and life is amazing and you're doing all these great things like Miss Idaho and all these other things that we'll talk about later. But I just want to congratulate you so much because I know it must have been traumatizing, terrible, horrible thing to go through. But thank God you made it through because now you're here and you have another how many years, to live
Oh,
greatly.
well, thank you.
Heck yeah.
It's been a process, and I want to mention that I even like up to that point of 18, 19, 20 years old, I was still quite bitter about what had happened. I wasn't necessarily, I would say that the determination that it took to get me out of the chair, that stubbornness was very much there. I
Mm.
mean, I was not exactly a pleasant person to be around. Like I
No.
was just very like sassy and snarky and like come at me, bro type of person. Cause I was like, I will never go through something like that again.
Right.
And it made me kind of standoffish and not
That's
pleasant.
tough.
So that overcoming that side of me was a trial in and of itself.
When you finally get your strength back and everything, when were you? Because it's one thing to get out of the wheelchair and start walking again. When were you like, I want to dance and sing and be in plays? When did you make that choice?
So actually, fun fact, my older sister, well, actually a couple of my older siblings did theater growing up and did it through their kind of like their high school years. And I actually was in a show with my older brother Shane and my sister Heidi years ago called Damn Yankees. And it was just like this fun show. And after that, I was hooked. Like dance and theater had always been like a huge thing for me. I loved it. I was that little girl that danced around the house all the time in a tutu, when I was tiny, And
Heck yeah.
Landon can, attest to that, but he's smiling.
He's not
um, so I loved it. It was always something that I wanted to do and always did my best to be part of the community and theater, and I was always trying to be involved. And then when I got sick, that just shattered it for me. Like
Right.
I was so sad that I couldn't really be involved, and I did like through those periods of time when I would feel a little bit better, I would still try to get involved in shows and stuff like that. And
Right.
so when I got well, that was one of my goals. I was like, hey, like I want to walk again, but I don't just want to walk again. I want to dance
I want to
again.
dance. Yes.
I want to dance.
I want to dance.
So I made that a goal, and it was actually my older sister Melissa decided after we all kind of moved to Pocatello, she decided to audition for the show The Wizard of Oz at the community theater, which was Mystique at the time, and Landon and I went as a support, and we ended up actually
I
auditioning.
was about to say, yeah, you guys were in that. Who didn't you play someone? Who'd you play?
I was the only male jitterbug.
You were a male
He was
jitterbug.
a
This
jitterbug.
massive afro.
It was
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Just a random
There are
random
pictures.
person. Yes, there are.
What were you?
Oh, I was ensemble. I was in the Emerald
Ensemble.
City.
Ensemble's
I
cooler
played a tree.
anyways.
Did I play a tree? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
you did.
Yeah,
You played
I
it.
played a tree at one point.
That's so
It was
cool.
like so terrifying. It'd been years since I've been on the stage, but I was like, all right, here we go.
Right.
And after that, like we didn't stop. Right after that auditioned for White Christmas, and it was just one thing after another. Like I was like, all right, this is it, and we started doing shows
That's
together.
awesome.
And
So when you started dancing, though, at that point, were you good? Like you were dancing just fine. It was a little bit heavy, hard.
It was hard. So I gaining like the flexibility back that you need to be a good dancer.
Right.
That has been hard where my muscles had atrophied so much. Like even being able to like walk around and like do normal daily activities, dancing was difficult. It was just very much like something that I would get so tired doing it, and then learning techniques and trying to like get my muscles to cooperate. That was hard. I spent a lot of time trying to teach myself what I needed, and it took time. It took many shows and working, building up the stamina to be able to do
No.
what I was able to do in the future.